So with that said, let's go to a performance that maybe didn't meet the expectations of the pundits, and this is your one, Jaron Boots Ennis, who was able to secure a 12-round decision. So this is the first time that he went 12 rounds against your man Kaloran Chigatsian, Chukajin, however you want to pronounce it. So I actually had a different view than a lot of people when it came to this performance. For one, is I because there's this kind of narrative that Boots was exposed. I saw a fighter in Chugatsian that was not looking to engage. He had some pretty good footwork. You know, the guys from Ukraine, I think that's just part of their amateur schooling. But it wasn't fighting to win, and it wasn't necessarily boxing. There was a sense that he would get some kind of moral victory just by lasting to a round, and then he seemed to even sense that, which I find ridiculous at this level, particularly for a pay-per-view fight, and you're the main event.
What would you have told Chuka John to do in that fight? What would have been your game plan? Mind you, we are just talking about Ryan and Tank and the reach discrepancy. Boots have a 6-inch reach advantage over this guy, plus all that size. It just didn't make any sense to me. If you're Chuka John, why would you stand there and try to engage? Which he did, by the way, in the 12th and 11th round to some degree. He stood there chest to chest with Boots and engaged once the steam and the snap of his punches came off a little bit. But I think Chuka John just couldn't find a way past Boots' reach. He was able to counter him.
Yeah, well,
right.
He was bouncing his left hook off of that was one that we talked about it on the thread. It was that Boots does seem susceptible to the left hook, particularly when he's in his southpaw stance.
But one at a time, though. If you stand here and try and put punches together in combination, he's going to counter your ass, and he was loading up, swinging for the fences.
But Art do this. So this one thing, couple things I would have say, and then I'm gonna pass it to Fuji to get his take. Is that I would have kept that same movement. I would have came in with those left hooks over the top, and then I would have tied them up. Then I would have walked them back a little bit, and then start back over. It would have been ugly. It would have been, but he would have been scoring, and then he obviously frustrated Jaron at several times, but he just wasn't able. And Jaron was like missing terribly, but he never.
Yeah, he made him look crazy.
He never had to pay
because he was always out of range because he was on his pogo stick too much. Yeah. But if they had done that, Cam, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Fuji up. Go ahead, Fuji.
Man, I just feel like with that fight right there, man, I ain't gonna say exposed, but I'm gonna say he showed that he can't fight with Crawford and Spence and stuff like that. Because I feel like if Spence or Crawford was in with that dude, they would have got him out of there, even with all the running. So I just feel like that showed that Boots is not on that level yet. That he's good, but he's just not on that level yet with them guys, man. Because them guys is killers, and I just feel like Spence or Crawford would have got that guy out of there. That's just my feeling.
To me, that's why, and I love that you say that, because I think that this might be, besides that, this might be the best thing to happen to Jaron Boots, because at first nobody was talking about any of his flaws or even fighting him, and I felt that, which I was wrong. I thought that Spence was gonna get on the phone right now and was like, give me that fight right now. I want it, but obviously he's going for really a money fight, which we'll talk about later. But I think that this is going to bode well for Jaron Boots Ennis, and I don't see somebody who was exposed. It's just styles make fights. This was just a bad matchup for him, but I still hold him in the high, and in that same high esteem as I did before the fight. So
I'm not, like I said, I'm not saying he whack or he's been exposed. I just feel like that showed that he's not up there with Spence and Crawford. That's just my point.
And I think what I got out of it is the boxing IQ. You know, he came out strong. He came out wanting to get him out of there. And then towards the second half of the fight, I didn't see that same power that he was given in the first half. And then this was probably one of his first 12-round fights to go the distance.
I think it was his very first.
So it showed.
He hadn't been past 6 rounds.
Yeah, so it showed that he's not mentally there to be fighting 12-round fights. He's like, I'm getting this guy out of here. And then in the second half of the fight, when he has to man up, he just didn't have the power to get him. He didn't know how to get him out at that point because the dude was just a tricky fighter. So I agree with Fuji on that. You know, like he's not going to get any of those fighters out in the first 6 rounds. He's not. And then so now we got to go to the second half of the fight, and I think that both Crawford and Spence at the elite level know how to handle a fighter in the second half of a fight, and Boots just don't have that yet. So
I don't think. Oh, go ahead. Sorry, finish.
So I just don't see it. I mean, they say okay, he might be like I think you said it, Cam, about him being faster or stronger or faster than Spence, but we see that a smarter boxer pretty much can negate a faster boxer. And that was showed that side.
Well, yeah, and then timing and negate speed, and there's few fighters who have better timing than a Spence.
I wouldn't even say timing because I don't think old boy had great timing. He
did. Like that's how he was able to get his punches in.
When he did
get his punches in,
I think he was just swinging and busted dude ass.
No, there was.
You talking about Ennis? You talking about?
No, we talking about Ellis when he got knocked out.
Oh, how you switch to Ellis?
Yeah, why'd you switch to Ellis?
When we had the thread, when I was telling you because Cameron said that Ennis's speed will pretty much beat Spence, and then I was like, no, we had a discussion about this that Saturday night. When we said Ellis, oh boy, what's the name that beat Ellis' ass was slower than Ellis, and he knocked his ass out. So speed.
But Ellis gassed though. Ellis gassed.
Yeah. That guy blew his load, and he fought on the perimeter the whole time. So if you actually track the distance that both of those fighters went, you would have had Ellis, who probably did about 10 miles or something like that. And then the other guy who was just kind of, cutting him off probably did a third of that. And he just blew his load too early.
That shows you that Ennis don't know how to cut off a ring. So I mean, you just telling everything that you're saying is exposing Ellis. He did need to do a better job of cut off the ring, but he's not gonna have to cut off the ring against Spence.
Yeah, he's not. Spence is going to be right
there.
That
go back to the boxing IQ. That when he get in trouble, you know how what Mike Tyson said was some people get punched in the face, they lose it a little bit. Not saying it was that, but he got like Randy said, the second half of the fight, he wasn't focusing right.
Well, to me, I thought that the first half of the fight, he obviously thought he was just going to get dude out of there. He had some wild swings and all that, and then
everybody picked it.
Yeah, at a certain point, and then I think at a certain point he just said, "You know what? Like, let me take a little bit off of my punches just so I can touch this dude." Right? That's a part of a boxing strategy. Is just that let me just make sure that I can put my hands on this dude and then kind of work towards the knockout. And then he did stun him a little bit. I think that he should have. I would have if I was in his corner. What I would have told him is that I would have done a little bit of dirty boxing. I would have been grabbing dude, even kind of using my shoulder, even kind of pushing him against the rope, pushing him against
Man, that dude's feet was way
body.
too fast, man. That dude's feet was way. That cat was like Barry Sanders in there, man. He was jukey. I thought he was trying to cross Ennis up at some points in that fight. Ennis could not. He could not keep that Joker in front of him, man. And the fact that kid was able to do that for 12 rounds.
I know.
Man,
I didn't think that was possible. But I mean, did you give any rounds to?
Yeah, I gave the kid Chukajan at least 3 rounds.
Well, none of the judges did.
Of course not. I mean, of course they didn't. The judges only gave Hector Luis Garcia 2 rounds. I thought he won more than 2 rounds. I mean, you know. Of course they only gave because he was on his bike. That's a very, very tough style to win, you know, on your bike like that. But the one other thing I wanted to point out, you said what?
You think Spence or somebody would have stopped that? You don't think
Hell no, not that dude.
Crawford
that guy had some fast feet. I mean,
Crawford would have done better, would have landed more punches. I don't think Crawford would have stopped him. I watched Crawford go 12 rounds with Ricky Burns. Burns doing kind of fighting in a similar kind of way. Now that was a Crawford from years ago, right?
A lightweight Crawford.
135-pound Crawford. But I watched Crawford go out there and look average against a guy who, like Cameron described, was out there to kind of, you might win, but you're not going to look good winning. And I watched Crawford go 12 rounds against a guy in Ricky Burns who's been stopped, I'm sure, by lesser competition than Crawford. If we go and look, I don't have the record right in front of me, but no, that dude Chukajan would be problems for anybody at 147 pounds, and Spence especially. That'd be a horrible matchup. That's my next point, though.
Didn't he do himself a disservice? Who? Well,
we'll have to see.
Nobody's going to fight him. Nobody. That guy is not going to get any top level welterweight. Who's going to fight him at this point now?
I mean, you know, but that's the same problem that a lot of these guys now. I mean, Boots can't get a fight, and he's number 1 or 2 in several of the sanctioning bodies. So I don't know that going out there and putting on a fan-friendly fight would have endeared him to anybody. I don't know that this kid is even signed to PBC or he's signed with any of the major promotional companies. So going out there and getting knocked out and putting on a fan-friendly fight, I don't know that would have done him any better. Now he could be the guy that's I went 12 rounds with Boots and made Boots look bad.
I mean,
look at what happened with the kid from Spain, the kid Sandor Martin. Sandor Martin is not some pretty exciting boxer, right? He looked ugly winning against Mikey, and then he got the call for Teofimo.
Yeah, but I mean, the thing is that the difference is that he won, right? So you know, so that put you up there, and there was at least something that people saw within his style that they at least felt that Teofimo would be able to beat this guy, particularly on short notice. But to, you know, kind of put a bow on this, what is the logical next step for Boots Ennis?
Sit around and wait. He's gonna have to sit around and wait because that Stanionis shit really fucked up the schedule. Them pushing that fight back to Stanionis' people are saying early spring, late spring, or some shit like that. Like that got to have Boots' team thinking about moving up to 54.
No, I don't think so. I think he.
I mean, let's take a look.
The guy weighed 145 pounds. Even though I think there's a little fugazi stuff going on with the scales, but he weighed 145 pounds. This is somebody who doesn't. He stays in shape. He doesn't have to get in shape. So once he was
eating steak and cheese egg rolls before the leading up to the fight, which was crazy to me.
He's 25 years old, so I still think that making that weight doesn't seem to be. He doesn't even look kind of drawn, you know, when it comes to the weigh-in. But
so the answer to your question is going to be Ulgas.
I was just about to say that.
Ugas, I don't see Ugas fighting anymore.
What?
The guy got his face broke, man.
He's saying he got a bad chick that he got to support.
He probably got a second family in Cuba too.
How many times have y'all seen fighters come back from those when they get their face broke?
That's what I'm saying.
We saw Kell.
Y'all been hyping up Kell Brook as one of us.
No, Kell Brook did it. And his very next fight, he got his face broke again.
And then after that,
yeah. And then he was never the same.
All right, so what about like? All right, I'm gonna give you two names.
And then we saw the last. Who was the last person that got their face broke? Y'all know who it was against Canelo.
It was Billy Joe.
Billy Joe. And that guy,
now,
I don't think he's gonna fight
Billy
again.
Joe. Now, Billy Joe and Ulgas had similar injuries, I believe. They both had fractured orbital bones.
Yeah.
And I don't know that Brooke had the. Did Brooke also have a fractured orbital bone, or was it something else?
No, it was a fractured orbital bone, but you got to remember. So the orbital is three bones that really kind of make up it's your orbital socket. But if you break any of those bones that kind of make up that orbital socket, then they call it a orbital fracture.
All right, so
but go ahead.
Fair enough.
Listen to these two names, but I don't know about the timing because I think Conor Ben has a fight. I mean, Conor Ben is out. So Cody Crowley.
Yeah, Crowley.
Maybe. Yes, yeah, maybe. It's not exciting, but
I mean, it's better than.
I would even say somebody like
Blair Cobbs?
I was gonna say like a Blair Cobbs, like that would be at least some type of excitement, and I think he'll sleep. You talking about somebody that walks around with the chin up? I mean, I see him sleep.
And that's another Philly guy too. I don't know if you can put that fight in Philly and put Stephen Fulton on the undercard or some shit like that, or put Danny Garcia on the undercard or something shit like that.
I can see that.
I don't really do fights. I don't really do fights in Philly, but I mean, it's slim pickings, man.
All right, Garcia had a fight. Was it in Philly or was it in New York?
He usually fights in the New York, New Jersey area, but I mean, I think it's like an hour train ride, depending on where you kind of that kind of metro area.
I mean, the obvious answer would have been Rashidi Ellis, my man from Lynn, Mass, if he hadn't blown that fight. And my man, whoever it was, last name was Villa, right? Was it the Venezuelan cat's last name?
Yeah, Villa.
Whoever it was beat him and fucked that up. That would have been the obvious answer. But look, Blair.
What about the winner? The winner of the Rashidi Ellis? Who was?
I mean, like
they're talking about running this shit back. That's what I'm saying. That would have been the obvious answer for Boots' next opponent, and that's what it's like. PBC was teeing that up. But obviously, shit changed when you get beat, especially the way he got beaten. But Blair Cobb, from what I understand, his contract with Golden Boy is up. After his next fight or a few months, something like that, it's almost up. So that
why don't you put all of them on the same card? I mean, Ryan Garcia against Tank, and then go ahead and put them together. Cobb, versus Boots.
Cobb versus Boots. Well, yeah. I mean, yeah, sure, why not? It's just, I don't think you can negotiate with Cobbs yet because of his contract situation, but that might be it.
And he might be in a bad situation because, I don't see too many other promotion companies jumping on Blair Cobb.
Yeah, man, that's because he is fugazi. Like anybody that knows him,
he talk a lot of shit and he knocks people out. So I mean, would you have rather have seen before watching the fight? Would you have rather have seen Chukajan Ennis or Cobbs Ennis?
Yeah, I mean, as far as the excitement and area of that, I would have taken on Cobb because he is just severely flawed, in the style. So that's just, to me, he's just a knockout waiting to happen. He's got a very amateurish style. He fights with his chin up, but it would have been much more exciting, Cam. Watching it would have been much more exciting because he doesn't have the skill or the foot speed or the foot movement to stay. But Chukajan had all the skill in the foot movement, and it was a relatively unexciting fight. Well, no, that's what I was saying. I was saying that Cobbs doesn't.
He didn't want to fight. He wanted to stay alive.
That's what I was saying. Cobbs doesn't have that. So he doesn't have the skill. That's what I was saying. So those are going to make him vulnerable to getting slept by somebody like a Boots Ennis. Cobb going to do the same shit that Rolly did. He going to sell that fight. He going to go out. He going to talk his shit. Show up with. That's what I said. Like, I'm not. That'll be good for Ennis. Yeah, that'll be great. That'll be a good opportunity. I'm not mad at that fight. I'm not mad at that fight. And Cobb is 33 years old, so Cobb needs to kind of take a
Do
shit
something.
off the toilet at this point.
Yep.
So
Cody Crowley, man, he could. I mean, I'm not saying anything. I haven't seen him fight, but I don't know that he's going to be an entertaining guy at the podium, you know, to try to sell that. We'll see.
Yeah, and then Cobb I think he's been down at least twice in his last,
I think he's been down more than that, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Nah, he just got knocked out there once.
No, I said
he
down.
said down.
Down.
Oh.
Like knocked down or whatnot. Because he's got a vulnerable chin that he leaves up in the air. All right. So with that said, I'm your man. Also, just one reminder once again, make sure that you we need to get them subs up. But we appreciate y'all rocking with the pundits of pugilism. This is your man, Professor Nim, signing out for Fuji, your favorite fight fan, the Casual Rand,
Peace,
and Boston Jed.
Peace.
Keep it popping, y'all.